Hi, I'm Bethany Jose. Welcome back to my channel. I am the Boudoir Coach, and today we're going to be talking about finding your niche and why that matters. So, what is niche photography? Niche photography is finding the genre that you love and mastering it. So, you've heard that saying, jack of all trades, master of none. What that really means, if you're trying to do everything, you're shooting families, you're shooting children, newborns, maternity, weddings, all of it, then you really are not standing out in a crowd. There are so many photographers out there that are finding their niche and they're excelling at that. Take Lindsay Adler and her fashion photography, or Lara Jade, also with the fashion. You have Jonny Edward, who's doing creative editorial kind of work. You have Cara Marie, who does black and white boudoir photography. You have Sue Bryce doing her contemporary portraiture. You have all these photographers that have found their niche, and that is what they're known for. And that's why clients seek them out, because they are the expert in their field. So that's what we're going to talk about, is finding your niche. And again, going back to the last video, sometimes finding your niche is finding out what you don't love to shoot, and then just eliminating that from the list and focusing on the things that really bring you joy. In the last video, we talked about finding your why. If you did your homework, you were able to write out all of the genres that you don't want to touch. For myself, again, just to kind of recap, is I don't shoot weddings, I don't shoot newborns or families. There are just certain things that I know I would not enjoy shooting. So write those out, list those out, because what that's going to do is eliminate the genres that we don't need to focus on today. What I want you to focus on are the things that are not on that list, like, is portraits something that you really enjoy doing? Is that portraits of men? Is that portraits of women? Is that portraits of children? Maybe you want to specialize in boudoir and boudoir only. Then let's talk about that a little bit more. Or maybe you do want to specialize in weddings and newborns or maternity. There are women like Lola Melani, who focuses mainly on motherhood, and that is from pregnancy to the birth of the child and photographing that beautiful bond. There are people like Annie Leibovitz that kind of focuses on her classic, timeless editorial style portraiture. There are people like Kelly Brown that really, shines at newborn photography. So, what is it that you want to do? What is your why? If you did the homework last week, you were able to narrow down the genres to some of the things that you would love to shoot. Drop them in the comments. Okay, so in the last video, I talked about, my IT roots, having been an artist most of my life. Why did I go into IT? It was just what happened on my path, and I actually enjoyed it quite a bit, and it also turned me into a tech junkie. So let's take Apple, for example. They have found their niche. Back in the 2000s, the tech bubble was huge. It included HP, Epson, Microsoft, Dell. All of these companies were building affordable PCs that were, again, functional. And there was no emotion around that. They had a practical tool for us to use to, do word processing and spreadsheets and everything like that. But now you take Apple, for instance, and they carved out a niche for people to make an emotional purchase. So, what sets Apple apart? They're creating seamless integrations between A Mac, MacBook, iPad, iPhone, all of the Apple products. They have created brand loyalty by creating innovative, sleek, sexy tools for us to use. So you're not just buying a product, you're buying a lifestyle. While their competitors are working on all the specs, the logistics, Apple is working on how you feel when you use their product. That's an emotional purchase, right? Photography is exactly the same way. We're creating innovative ways to get our niche out to the market. We are being the brand expert of our business. We are selling on an emotional level, not one that people have to think about very hard. They see their photos, they fall in love with them, they buy them. That's what we're going to be talking about. That's why a niche is important. If I had to come up with three words to describe my brand, it's timeless, classic, and vintage. Think about that. When you're building your brand, when people look at your work, how do you want them to recognize you? Is it boho? Is it black and white? Is it moody? Is it light and airy? What sets your brand apart? So when people are scrolling on social media and they see your work, are they going to be able to recognize it before they even see your name? Let's brand your business so that you're recognizable. Another way you can brand your business is by what you're offering. Are you offering luxury products? Are you offering a luxury service? Does that include professional hair, makeup, and lashes? Does it include wardrobe for your clients to wear? Now, you don't need all these things to run a business, but these are things that you're going to want to think about how you want to brand your business. When I was just starting out, and I was shooting portraiture and boudoir out of my living room. I would consult with the client ahead of time on things that they should look for wardrobe. Oftentimes, the client would show up with a few pieces from their closet, but they didn't put much thought into it. They just grabbed the first things that they found that they liked, and they didn't necessarily photograph the way that I wanted to photograph them. So for my brand, I started building a client closet. And I just started out with a few pieces that I knew that would, I could elevate somebody's outfit with, whether that be a scarf or a piece of jewelry. Maybe I found a beautiful top at a thrift store, something shiny, something flowery, just beautiful things for my client to wear. And that way, if they did show up with something that may not have photographed as well, I would have something that they could try on. Now, like I said, I didn't have a studio. So this was being shot in my living room. They used one of my children's bedrooms as a changing room. We did the hair, makeup, and lashes at my kitchen table, and the client didn't care. That's not what they remember from the shoot. What they remembered is how I made them feel and how we took every detail into consideration. That was part of my brand, is attention to detail, having something for them to wear, preparing them for the shoot with hair, makeup, and lashes. Is that something that speaks to you? And if not, then find what things will help set your business apart that you can really showcase. And so that when people are wanting to book a session like this, your name is going to come to mind. Myself, I want to attract women over the age of 30, preferably in her 40s and 50s. However, there are women in their 30s that also have become empty nesters, are changing careers. I want all women over the age of 21 in my studio. And again, that is something I've niched down to. But when you're attracting these clients, you want to make sure that your portfolio is speaking to that ideal client. So, are you attracting men? Are you attracting children? Are you attracting mothers to be? Are you attracting brides to be? So when you think about building your portfolio, think about the types of photographs that you want to start collecting so that when you go out and show your gallery, start marketing on social media, when you start building that website, that you're using the imagery that's going to attract that client. You're going to want to keep your portfolio fresh. So as new work comes in that you're proud of, take the old work off of your website and keep refreshing your gallery. That's going to keep people coming back to look at your latest work. On social media, you can go ahead and leave your old work because sometimes it's really fun to look back on where you started and where you are, at that current moment because it's going to show your growth. So when you're feeling down or you feeling, as creatives, is like you look at your work and it's like it sucks, and then you look at it a day later, it's like this is great. This is going to happen throughout your career. But it's really fun to kind of reference where you started from and what you're currently shooting and see your growth. In my next video, we're going to be talking about the essentials that you're going to need to get started. So now that you've picked a genre, now it's time to build that portfolio. You do not need a lot of gear or, camera equipment to get started. I'm going to talk about how I started in my living room with just a camera and window light, and you can too. So we'll see you next time.